Greetings. Welcome to this Sunday impromptu edition of Live at Home with Dan or something. I don't know what you want to call this. I just thought that this was another opportunity for me to get to know my StreamYard service better, and I want to try to do something that will help me get over having people watch me draw. So we're going to do a little caricature action today. I don't know how far we'll get, but I just wanted to just kind of dive into this. And again, I'm experimenting with StreamYard. And what we're going to do is I'm going to, put that over on, I'm going to put this over. Let's change the camera view first. We're going to do that. So that makes me smaller, which is really good today because, yesterday morning I woke up and I looked in the mirror and I saw that I had broken a blood vessel in my eye. So hopefully this small view will help me not look so gross because you really don't want to look in my eye today. But we're going to draw a caricature of Tim Hawkins. At least I'm going to give it a shot. And I'm going to put you over there so I can see your comments. If you guys want to make comments while I'm drawing and such, please do so. I'm trying to improve these little broadcasts, streamcasts a little bit incrementally as I do each one. So hopefully somewhere down the road, it'll be an accumulation of improvements. Now, there's nobody in the house with me right now except for my dog Shadow. He's sitting right here next to the window. So at any moment, he could look out the window and see somebody and let me know about it. So just be prepared for that sort of thing. Now, I started drawing this caricature of Tim Hawkins yesterday. And it's just kind of, it was a quick, couple minute type of thing. And so part of it I like and part of it I don't. And so we're going to make some changes and alterations on it and see if I can improve it. The scary thing about drawing live is, there's two different versions of this. The live in front of an audience at a place, like if it's an amusement park, or for me it was the Creation Museum for the last number of years. The thing about that is that the customer gets what they get, type of thing. So hopefully some of them are kind of close. And I think one secret, my wife's home, so now I'm gonna have to tell her that I'm on live. But that's kind of like I said, you have a short period of time to do those caricatures, and the customer gets what they get, and the artist is just drawn for speed, and of course likeness hopefully is part of that too. But studio caricatures, everyone thinks, well, why can't I just pay whatever, the $10 or whatever, and you draw me a caricature in your studio too? Well, studio caricatures are not as fast. They're more time is taken, and hopefully a higher degree of likeness is achieved, and so they're a little different. But many times people don't understand the difference between those two. Now, of course, the important thing in doing caricatures is that or a large part of the likeness is achieved through the eyes. And so Tim Hawkins has some unique eyes, so I'm going to try to capture somewhat of a likeness here in just the eyes. Now, why am I drawing in blue? Because I like to draw in a different color than black before I go in with the final inks. So these are all just kind of sketch guidelines. And it's what I will use as a basis of my black line drawings then later on. All right, my wife is home. Everyone say hi. Hi, Marcia. Interesting nose. Hey, hon. I'm on live right now. Oh, hi, Dee. Dee McClellan. Good to see you. Hope you're having a happy Sunday. Dee was with me way back in the beginning, Minnesota. She saw a lot of the early part of my creation drawing career in creation apologetics. And I did illustrations for her that ended up being used by other creationists. Freddy the Future Fossil Fish. It's probably one of the most famous. Hey, Jay. Good evening. All right. Having these comments is fun. Let's see. Interesting brow that he has here. Right there. There's caricaturists that will instruct you to just draw the eye shapes and then leave the leave the pupils till later. Yeah, I guess maybe I'll do that. I'll kind of let that go till later. Let's see. Again, kind of scary stuff doing this studio stuff in front of a live audience. So I'm trying to be brave today. Some studio caricatures, I have to tell you, I will. Thanks, Jay. Hope you're doing great too. Sometimes I'll draw like a face multiple times, and sometimes an embarrassing number of times, just over and over again, trying to get it right. And some faces are a lot easier than others. That's kind of hard to explain to people too, because people think when I describe, oh, you got a great face for caricature, they think that means I'm ugly, or I'm saying that they're ugly, but it doesn't. It just means that they have a really interesting face. You've got something to work with, something I can get a hold on as far as caricature. And the odd thing about that is that people I think that we would consider like beautiful or good looking many times are difficult to draw a caricature of them because they don't have much to work with. It's all too, I don't know, non-interesting, and maybe that's some of the, it sounds like I'm calling you ugly type of thing, but really no. Like pretty women, especially, for me anyway, it's very, very difficult to, some of them anyway. You just don't know where to start. How do you, it kind of ends up being sort of a portrait likeness instead of something funny or more humorous. And I don't, caricatures don't automatically mean that you're you're making someone look bad either, or mocking, or and here I'm kind of doing the double whammy because not only, yeah, I'm a little camera shy when it comes to drawing live. It's the making mistakes part that unnerves me. It's the, I think people have this impression that, oh, you're an artist, you're talented, it's just easy for you. Just, it's not even work. Well, artwork is what it's called. And it can be exhausting trying to get it right, especially when it's not falling together like you'd like it to. And so again, I'm kind of doing the double whammy here in that I'm trying to draw someone that you're familiar with his face, and then this guy's making a face. And so he's distorting his face already. So can I capture the likeness of his face when he's doing an unnatural look for, well, I guess for Tim Hawkins, maybe any face is not an uncommon thing, but you know what I mean. So he's bent his face and warped his face out of the normal, how we would recognize it. And now I'm trying to draw this. So I guess the disclaimer would be, this could be a train wreck. We'll see. Well, Jay, I've been drawing for a long time, so I hope that some of the practice has paid off over the years. And I don't know how long you've been drawing, but practice is an important thing. And tell you, even us professionals, people that have been in the field for a while, we have our dry down days. Oh, let's see. Any questions? Anything you guys want to talk about? The good old Freddy. Yep, Freddy, the future fossil fish. For those of you that don't know, when I was in Minnesota and Dee wanted me to make a slide for her for speaking, and this slide needed to show the progression of a fish that was swimming along, and all of a sudden something catastrophic happens and this material covers him, and he, over not millions of years or thousands or even hundreds of years, it can happen in a very short period of time, a fish can become a fossil. And so I portrayed that, and so you got this little fish swimming along, and all of a sudden, this stuff comes and buries him, and then he turns into a fossil as the rock material, the material that covered him hardens, and that fossilization process takes place. You guys confident this is going to look like Tim Hawkins when I'm done? It really depends a lot on the where I started with it, and I don't think I've made too many changes so far. I might, after I get this stage done, I might take and kind of move some things around in Photoshop. And then, not only am I drawing a caricature live, and then not only am I drawing a caricature live, but it's of a face that people know pretty well, most people. And then this person is distorting that well-known face. So all these things are going against me. And then I have to talk on top of that at the same time. So, and sometimes I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. So, okay, here's an interesting Tim Hawkins fact. Tim Hawkins has the same birthday as a famous cartoonist. Can anybody guess who that cartoonist is? And I say famous is like very qualified famous. Like that's a very small famous. Does anybody know what famous cartoonist that is? Stay tuned to the end of the broadcast and you will find out. And then see, I'll bring up something and then I'll forget to say it at the end. And everyone will go, "What? Who's talking about?" All right, let's go. I'm going to turn the sketch layer off and see where we are. I don't know. We'll see. I guess I'll draw in the eyes and see if that helps. D. McClellan says me or you. Yeah, that's me. Tim Hawkins is younger, of course. But here's another thing too. As things are coming to mind, the camera view or the shot that you're watching. I should have 3 camera views here. This is part of the experiment for today. Is that in StreamYard, I can do multiple views at the same time, or I could have different people on with me at the same time. And so today, what I wanted to do is show my hand on the screen. Which one of the little views, you can see that because I'm drawing on my Cintiq and many times when I'm doing this, it just looks like this magic cursor is floating around making the drawing, and you can't see that my hand is on the screen doing this drawing. And so my goal for today was to at least give somewhat of a shot of that particular piece of the puzzle happening. And so that's part of my motive for today, is to do that, show people, okay, this is my hand actually drawing on the Cintiq, and then you can tell how that shot goes together with the large shot of the drawing being worked on. So, well, if you didn't see the photograph, would you know that this is Tim Hawkins? I'm not sure. Part of the trick. Yeah, I think I've. There we go. All right, what we're going to do is I want to try moving some stuff around a little bit. But one tip in doing so, for those of you that might do artwork and such, I want to label the layer Art 1. So that's my original drawing. That's not just the sketch. I usually layer sketch layers SSSS because it's easy to do, and I'm a horrible typist. Yes, in fact, here, let me try this little new thing too. There, these comments should be on the screen there. I got to practice all these things that I have ability to do in the stream flow. D says, let's see, I have a great detective one you did of me. Actually, I was going to show the one before that. Let's see. Yep. But I cannot share pictures with you. I have some of your artwork here. Yep, you do. Some of the early stuff. All right. And anyway, I was going to say that in Photoshop, when I'm going to change something on a layer, I like to keep the original layer, or the first one that I did, untouched. And so what I do is I'll duplicate the layer. And then, so this probably won't look like anything to you, but I've made another layer with that particular line drawing on it, so that if I change that line drawing in a way that I am not satisfied with, and I think I need to go back to the original, I can just go back to the original copy that I had, instead of having to try to reconstruct the one that I just destroyed. So let's see. I'm going to try to select. I think I drew his nose too far away from his eyes. And so what I'm going to try to do here is I want to move his bottom of his face up a little bit. I think that might help. Again, this is all stuff that you just never see. And you just think, oh, it just comes right out of the artist's hand, just happens. And again, practice does make things easier, and you get better and such. But it's still work, and trying to capture a likeness is a task. And some faces are easier to capture than others. And I have never, ever drawn Tim Hawkins before in my life, so I just wanted to kind of give it a shot. If you guys go to my website, danlietha.org, there's a little plug. I've got a few caricatures on the banner for that site that I ask people if they can guess who they are. So maybe some of you could take a trip there, take a look at those caricatures, and then send me the names and see if you get them all right. danlietha.org is my website. Yeah, I think that nose being closer up to the eyes helps. Of course, I made the mouth bigger than it is, so I exaggerated that. All right, so I'm going to use this blue layer now. I'm going to lighten that. All right, Jay, see you later. Thanks for checking in. I'm going to use this blue layer as a basis for my inks. And hopefully I can get some nice thick and thin inks with this. Try to give it a nice feel. We're going to lighten that down. And then I'm going to make another layer over the top of that. This will be for my black ink. And so I've changed my color now. And then I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. I don't want to get too close, but Photoshop got away from me a little bit. All right. One thing that I miss, and I need to do more of it, is inking with a real brush. When I was a kid, I'd see comic books, and I'd notice that the artwork had these thick and thin lines in them. And I had no idea how that was done. And so I drew with ballpoint pens and markers and stuff. And so if there was a thick line, I would just take my pen or my marker and I would construct that thickness, draw it in, instead of, as the artist did, make it with one stroke, adjusting the pressure of his pen or his brush as they did that. So when I went to art school, I found out, oh, look at that. That's how they do that. And that's really where I learned how to draw with a brush. And drawing with a brush, or inking with a brush anyway, can be really a mess sometimes because of the bottle of ink that you have on your drawing board. And then let's see. And then the brush itself can get a little messy, especially if you spill it. So one thing I like to draw with, or ink with now, the brush part isn't quite as nice as the real thing. If you get a real nice inking brush, but the convenience is great. It's called a Pentel Pocket brush, and those things are wonderful. You can use them just like a pen or a marker. It's got a cap on it. And take the cap off, and the brush part's right there, and you draw. You ink, and it's great. And I have 4 people that are watching right now. Thank you, people. 4 people. Again, if you have any comments or questions, you can guide my conversation. My dog is just sleeping by the window right there. It's a good thing he's not looking out, because if you see someone walking by, you'll know when that happens. All right. I used to work at a Christian radio station in Marquette, Michigan, before I moved to Minnesota for a short time. And the manager of the radio station's name was Kurt Marker. And Kurt just passed away not so long ago, so I was deeply saddened by that. And I really haven't said much about it because I've been so busy with all kinds of traveling and work things and all kinds of stuff. But I bring that up here because I wasn't saying anything for a little bit, and those things were kind of silent as I'm working away. When I was at the station, dead air was not a good thing, and it usually meant that the radio announcer was not quite as fast as he or she needed to be. And if you didn't put the record on, a record, an LP, or get the PSA in the cart and play that fast enough, or have the radio program queued up, or whatever it was, or make the announcement, there was dead air. And so if things went on a little bit too long, Kurt would come over and he would stand in the doorway to the recording studio, and he would start singing, "I was sinking deep in sin, far from the peaceful shore." And it was his way of saying, "Get going," in this fantastic Kurt Marker way. And he was such a great guy, so encouraging, and he was a great encourager of my ministry, Christian cartooning, illustration type stuff back when I was just a little kid. Kurt would do things for Awana and those sorts of things, and he'd have me come and speak to his Awana kids. Taught Sunday school, and it was encouraging for me too. Sometimes I tend to get a bit emotional when I speak in front of audiences, and Kurt was a big guy. In fact, in his youth, something that he would not talk about a lot, you'd think of as much as someone that had done this sort of thing would, but Kurt Marker, for a time, actually played for the Dallas Cowboys. And so there was a picture in his office of him back in his football days. But he would tell you that that ruled his life way too much back in those days. And so that's what he would tell you. He wouldn't brag or boast about his ability for football. He'd point to Christ, and he'd say that, and he often used illustrations of the Bible and such as like the playbook of life, and he could tell a flavor of his football past. But again, he never bragged about it. Got excited about football sometimes, but he had a very good perspective for someone that had achieved a measure of success there. That was not the goal. That was not the important thing. That was not the point of life. Let's see. Line on the other side here. So, Kurt Marker, I miss you, man. Thank you for your impact on my life, and I'll see you again. Now, there's a camp in Michigan that I've spoken at over the past, I think the first time I spoke at was 2007. So from then until now is about 13 years. And Kurt, I mentioned Kurt in my testimony when I worked at Answers in Genesis. And Kurt saw that testimony that it was put online. And he called up Lake Ellen Bible Camp, and he said, "Hey, I think I've got a speaker that you can use." And so he linked us up. I hadn't been in contact with anyone at Lake Ellen for a number of years, and so I grew up at that Bible camp. A lot of very important moments and growing and fun and all kinds of stuff happened there. And so it's an honor to play the role of a speaker now at times. And hopefully next year I'll be speaking there again. Sadly, they didn't have much for camping this year because of COVID-19. Love lifted me. Yep, that's the song. Love lifted me. Love lifted me. When nothing else could help, love lifted me. I'm sorry, I shouldn't sing. Teeth are kind of interesting. You want to draw just enough detail to indicate they're there, but you don't want to like really do a lot of detail because you're not supposed to. That's not a super important part of the face, but it's there, so you got to draw enough. When I was in high school, one of the phys ed teachers, I can't think of her name right now. She had me draw a picture of her family. She gave me a family portrait, and she wanted me to draw a nice inked pen and ink picture of her family. And I did that. And this particular teacher, Lynn Paulson, I think that might be, I gotta go look this up. You get old and haven't thought about people for years. I think that was her name. And very sweet lady. She had one of those really big smiles. And anyway, so I drew the picture, and I drew in every tooth she has. And so she liked the picture a lot, but I think she made some kind of a comment that you didn't have to draw every tooth, all of my teeth, or something like that. So I kind of learned a little bit from that drawing commission. I don't even recall I think I might have just done that for free. I don't think she paid me for it. Back in the early days when you're a young artist, you're just excited to draw for people. So. All right. Sing and draw. I could sing in Donald Duck. That's something that's popular at camp, is when I break out the Donald Duck. Been doing that for years and years and years. Okay, I'll show off a little bit. One of the funny things that, at least I think it's funny, that I do with Donald Duck, I've never seen anyone else, not that no one else could do this, but I try to do difficult tongue twister type things in Donald Duck. And I make sure my mouth's all ready for this. And I'll tease people by saying, now there's a word that is in a Disney movie that's a famous tongue twister word, that super long word. And I just said part of the word. So I'll get people to guess what the word is. I'm imagining you've probably figured it out by now. And so I'll just go ahead and say it. In fact, let me take a sip of water here. All right, you ready? Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. There, how's that? And I sing songs, and I used to sing Jesus Loves Me, but then I figured that was a little too easy. And so there's another tongue twister camp song that was a fun one to realize I could do that one too. And so I'll do that one for kids every once in a while. You'll have to tune in for another broadcast for me to do that one. But the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious is as far as I'm getting today on Donald Duck. So, all right, hair. Hair is always interesting to draw. And quite frankly, when I'm doing live caricatures, hair is my nemesis. Oh, the complications and stresses of hair, especially you ladies. Rarely has there been a guy that's made me just inside go, oh no, what am I going to do with that? In fact, guys sometimes will show up and I'll jump up and down and do cartwheels inside. I'll smile at the customer, but I'm saying thank you, Lord, for this guy's bald head, because that's my favorite hairstyle to draw, is just draw a line, boom, done. And I was drawing caricatures in Washington, D.C. A number of years ago as part of an outreach. Oops. Here's the nice thing about Photoshop, is you can draw a line and then make it go away if it's a mistake. All right, so I was in Washington, D.C. My wife and daughter were there with me. Of course, they weren't there at the outreach. They were doing homeschool field trip stuff when I was working at the outreach. It was at the NEA convention. You can find You can find my photos and more that I wrote about this on my blog. If you go to my website, danlietha.org. So we were there handing out materials and answering questions and such. And I'm going to make a pun here, and I fully intend to do this. I was drawing an audience with caricatures, and there were people there. I was stunned. There were people there that were standing an hour and a half, or an hour and a half in line waiting to have their free caricature drawn. And so I was trying to go as fast as I could. I was the only caricature guy at our booth, trying to keep up with demand and such. And there were a lots of I'm talking from a cultural type of thing. This was something I wasn't used to seeing. And for the caricatures, it was wow. They were amazing to look at. The hairdos of some of the ladies. There were some very dark-skinned ladies. A lot of them were at this caricature convention, or not the caricature convention. It was at the NEA, the teacher convention, and so that was a culture that I was not used to seeing. One, so it was very, very interesting, fascinating. But I had to draw these hairdos, and I think, did someone tell me that a lot of them were wigs? They were so ornate. They were like sculptures and just little braids and big. And so, again, the purpose of a caricature is to capture the likeness and such. And I didn't know what to do with those the hairdos. And anyway, so I had a very interesting time trying to draw some of those hairdos and do them partial justice. I'd say that was probably the most hair education that I had. But there have been other times where I've been at the the Caricature Museum or someplace, and maybe my markers are running out, so I've got limited black ink in my markers for whatever the reason, and some gal will come and sit down in front of me, and she'll have the nicest, most awesome long black hair, and I'm thinking, my marker's gonna run out just a quarter of the way through this one person. I gotta make it through the whole day. So hair. The horror stories of hair. All right. Well, we're I'm not coloring this guy today. I'm just going to try to get the lines down. Then what I'll probably do, I'll set this away for a time, which is a valuable exercise for artists, by the way. If you get away from your artwork after you've seen it, then you come back with fresher eyes. So I may come back with fresher eyes and say, oh, I should have done this better, or I could have done this, and I may change it. But even now, as I'm drawing over the blue line that I've made as my guideline sketch for the ink lines here, I'm making little adjustments as we go. So, but please don't say I'm evolving it. This is intelligent design. Hopefully intelligent design. And I think it's funny how the word evolution is used so much in products and things. And I'm thinking, don't the people realize that sounds like it just happened out of nowhere, and you're kind of taking credit away from the people that put their our design expertise and gifts and creative talents into this thing, and then here's the evolution of whatever, you know. And I realize evolution has more, the word itself has more definitions to it than just a big bang boom type of meaning, but that's the way I think about it anyway. All right, did we crash and burn? Did we get somewhere close? We'll have to see. Sometimes the coloring can really help too. I can kind of help some of the shapes with some of the rendering, but the lines do need to be good as far as where this thing came from. The foundations are very, very important in more ways than just drawing. The foundations you're thinking, the foundations of artwork, it's kind of similar. So, all right, well, I'm going to put my signature on this, and I think we're going to end our broadcast. Yeah, D can spell I can't even say it now. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. All right, for the name. Lietha. And for those of you that don't know how to pronounce my name, I always tell people it's like saying Lisa with a lisp. So it's Dan Lietha. 2020, and today is 10/11. A day of infamy. All right. I don't know. I'll rate this later. I want to start picking at it now, and I'll probably it's a little over rendered in spots already, but maybe I'll do some weird type stuff. So one thing about artists is we can never just leave it alone. We keep going on it. I guess that's one thing too. If you've got a caricature and the artist keeps picking at it like that, you know, something's not quite right because he's not confident that he's trying to save it. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, thank you for joining me. Let's see this. All right, D. D said, this project just evolved. Wow. Then you're paying me too much for random evolution. Yeah. Yeah. How do you pay for stuff that just happens? I don't know. So thank you, D. It was great being out in Minnesota, visiting you and your hubby a while back. Now here's another thing too. I'm looking at the screen and I'm seeing this small, which can expose shortcomings as well, and I'm seeing some shortcomings here too, so maybe I'll be traumatized and even less willing to draw live stuff later on. As I said, caricatures are really tricky to get that likeness, and so they've got this extra level of difficulty over, you know, drawing something else. If I'm drawing a dog or if I'm drawing a whatever it is, that human face component is the extra hard part. And so capturing that likeness, and I, like I said before, I kind of gave myself the double whammy with the guy making an expression, Tim Hawkins making a face. So I don't think it's quite there. I'll probably fix it later on, and we'll color the fixed version. But that's where I am for now. So thanks for joining me in this broadcast, and watch for more to come in the future. Signing off. Have a good day.